Welcome, Simon. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. Thank you very much for having me. This is a true pleasure.
Great to spend some time with you. What's been happening?
So much. Where to start? So should I start with who I am?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Please.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So happening for me at home is there's a brand new baby. Happening for me more professionally is there's a cafe down the west end of Fremantle, which, I'm very happy to say employs around about 35 people. So I like to think that that's a beautiful thing because we're giving back to the community in that way. And then, that's also a situation where you can give back to the community in so many other ways, shapes and forms that you so much more than you could ever do by yourself. So that's a really wonderful thing.
It really is a wonderful space, more and more. I mean, you see us down there all the time, down at the west end of Fremantle. For those of you around WA and you haven't been to more and more, it's truly a world-class place. The artistry, the quality of just the decor, like the vibe of the place alone is just breathing and vibing. The people that tend to be attracted to the place, the quality of the food. I mean, you've ticked all the boxes, I think. It's really incredible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a long journey in the way that, I've used that word. The journey word, I avoid it. But at the same time, 10 years we've been there now. So it's a wonderful thing. I've spent probably the last 5 years really focusing in on the farm to table, what's viable, what's not, what's local, what we're producing. Very quickly you find out that Perth is really based on like a beach. So people who are growing highly nutritiously dense foods very quickly come into problems with our soil, our quality of soil. So you want to find people that are doing things differently and not just bog standard ways of doing things. But the cafe, I'd like to say, is around 40 to 60%, depending on season, depending on what availability of what's happening, directly farm to table. So in a lot of cases, we don't have a middleman. We're supporting macadamia nut farmers with pecans getting delivered today, so that's on my mind a little bit. And the walnuts in the shell, which we give away. Kids come in, they crack little walnuts and have a little munch of some walnuts which are just growing outside Pemberton. So that's all really exciting stuff, and that's stuff that I guess I just taken in my stride for the last couple of years because that's just been happening. You set that stuff up and then you can build on top of it, and that's when it gets exciting.
It's super exciting. I mean, it's very much needed in our culture right now, where the norm is still, going to Woolworths, going to Coles, and no connection to the food. Who knows how long it's been in refrigerators and freezers and shelves, and so to have that direct contact with where it's coming from is such a beautiful thing, and I feel is actually an integral part of like living a yogic kind of lifestyle, really, or an Ayurvedic lifestyle, or any kind of holistic lifestyle. Connect to where your food's coming from. I mean, you're feeding your body with that constantly, and I think that's why I really bow to the work you're doing, because it feels really necessary for us as a humanity to come back full circle to that roots connection.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And at the moment, just because there's not enough on, I'm being sarcastic. I'm looking at a second business, and the foundation of that second business is that, the most fundamental products come in whole from a local farmer, and they're ground on site to start what offering that we're looking at. That's really exciting to me, and I wouldn't be considering it because there is enough on. But the idea of creating that situation where you can walk in and you can go, right, potentially you come in the right morning, there's the farmer delivering, there's the product going into the grinder in this case, and there's the product coming out of the grinder, it's fresh, amazing, live seeds in this case, coming out and being turned into what I want to eat for lunch. It smells amazing, and there's a great, connection there all the way through to the point where, if we get the right farmer on board, you can go and visit him and you can go and see these things growing.
Amazing.
I always, the seed in particular is buckwheat. If I don't know what that looks like, I'll grab a handful of those seeds and chuck them in a place that they'll grow. Currently, at the cafe, we've got those seeds coming out of my garden, which are producing flowers, and they're going on top of the meals.
Wow.
So, if you eat buckwheat and you've never seen a buckwheat, come into the cafe at the moment, and we've got buckwheat flowers on a lot of the dishes. And if you don't get one on your dish, ask the chef. Go, "Oi, I've heard you've got buckwheat flowers.
Very cool.
Let's see." Yeah. So, I nerd out,
I nerd out on that too. That's why you're here. Yeah. Keep going. Keep nerding out.
Yeah. So I really love that. And just having the connection, understanding how these beautiful plants grow, what they look like. And to me, there's so much insight that's available. There's so much, I don't know, I guess it's energetic, but it's a connection to, a standard part of my diet is bread made from buckwheat or something along those lines. Where does that buckwheat come from? How does it grow? What does it look like when it's growing? That sort of, I guess it's kind of romantic. That's the thing that comes up for me. There's this, but it's romantic, but it's kind of everything, it's kind of like hard to quantify, but it's understanding what you're made of, and understanding what we're all, consuming. I can go into 50 different examples, but the first one comes to mind is I buy macadamia nuts every now and again because the macadamia nut guy sells them to me at 40 kilo lots. So I buy like 2 kilos when we're kind of like, oh no, we're going to run out. So we'll get some. So they're definitely going to be in your when you're in your birch or whatever it is that you're ordering down the cafe. Those macadamia nuts will sit on the shelf and they'll be fantastic for 6 months. They're still crisp and they're still fresh and everything. I'm like, what's happening so differently with these ones that we're buying in stock standard off the shelf versus the ones which come straight from the farm? They're cryovac and they're packed, and I'm refrigerating them, and still after 2-3 months they're going soft. So what have they done differently? What exactly happens with our food? I know, because I can talk to the farmer, that they come off that cracking machine, which actually there's a little video on our Facebook. They come off there, they go through, and someone makes sure that there's no seeds in, it goes straight through there, and they get cryovac. So if that's not the case, because obviously these other ones have been processed in a different way, what is the process? What are the extras which we don't see? And I'm kind of like, well, if it's getting an additive or something like that, then I want to know about it, because no one's telling me. And to me, it's got to be the case that something's happening, which is not happening in that just honest from the tree to the cracker to the cryovac and straight in my door. So I think that's really interesting. That's being overlooked a lot.
Yeah, it's become again the norm. We've kind of collectively just accepted that is the norm, and then we're seeking out organic, and then everything else isn't. It's just bizarre to me. It's bizarre. So like you're connecting back to the natural aspect of farm to table seems romantic only because we've accepted this other bizarre, overly additive added way as the norm. I mean, you go into a normal shopping center and 99% of it would be just that, wouldn't it?
Just processed things. And, we've developed such a science around manipulating foods and things like that. But let's leave that there, because that can go down a long pathway, a rabbit hole, which, we can spend all day on. But there's so many positive things to talk about. One of the things that we love to do, we recently did a Cook for Syria dinner, and we raised $6,000 for the kids of Syria. Who, amazing. We had a bazaar market upstairs, and we had a little documentary happening there. So if you were lucky enough to come along, or if, I can thank you enough that you did come along or partook in some way, then you'd know exactly what we're talking about. So that was upstairs in the gallery that we had all of that. And we had some great, Syrian musicians, and, it just, it was such a magic night. It all came together really nicely. And downstairs was a big dinner, and the guys from Kazumi's came over and did a big banquet, while we were organising all the other bits and pieces. They did that, and I think everyone left super happy. It happened to be the exact night that our new baby joined us.
Oh, wow. Was it?
So it was probably the first ever type of charity event where I wasn't even there. But yeah, he arrived 4:00 in the afternoon, and the start of that was 6. And you know, at one point I was kind of like, oh, maybe I should just duck over. And then when this little magic arrived, it's kind of like it's the last thing on your mind. You just want to absolutely be there and 100%, you know, with this new addition to the world that you know is going to change my life every minute and my wife's life. And so things change. And in that situation, your priorities are a little bit different. Like,
totally.
All week I was really looking forward to standing up and going, this is why we love doing what we're doing. And on that particular day, it was like, well, right now, you know, this is super exciting, and I just can't stop staring at this little guy. You know?
And you had a home birth, didn't you?
It wasn't a home birth; it was in the birthing centre,
right?
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
it was really, really good.
Cool.
So he was born water birth. You know, Ali really wanted to do things as naturally as possible, and you know, all credit to her. She didn't even take a Panadol.
Wow.
Yeah, which I was really impressed with. But you know, not just that. That was the way she chose to do it. But to me, the extra connection to this little person, because this is the second person that I've been lucky enough to bring into the world, was off the chain to really, you know, just get a feel for how significant this is, an undertaking for the female body, for, you know, for life in general. You know, like this is the gritty part of we've you know, created magic together, you know, like it's amazing. I'm just lifting hairs on the back of my neck thinking about that
likewise.
moment. Yes.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. You as a family unit look so healthy and happy and inspirational, really beautiful to be around. So congratulations. How are you finding the new chapter of integrating family life with business, with all your projects and inspiration? How are you finding it so far, all honesty?
Okay. Look, Ali, I think she's really good when it comes to really catering for Riley. Riley's a new addition. His requirements and needs. You know, she's 100% committed to that. You know, she's still getting stuff done to her credit, which is amazing. You know, and she goes along to a mother's group and they're like, what? You're managing to do all of that as well as raise this little one and do such a, you know, a great job. And, you know, she's very, very committed. So, that's great. Very rarely do I get woken up at night, which, you know, I feel guilty admitting.
Awesome.
But, you know, he's 100% breastfed. So yeah, I don't really have the equipment to partake in that. So yeah, it's, that's wonderful at home. When I step out the door, you know, there's always a lot of things to be grateful down there. Like it's a beautiful space more and more. It's, a really beautiful vibe, and we do attract, you know, amazing people like yourself, Stu, which is how we've got to know each other. But I've been fortunate enough to go along to your flow festivals and really take an interest in what you were doing. You know, came along there for the book launch, which of course was phenomenal. The energy in that room, you know, like I don't often talk about energy in a room, but that was amazing. You know, yeah, that was really something worth experiencing. So thanks for having us along there. And I just wanted to reflect the comment that you said before that you feel the family on my end is looking happy and healthy. Dude, like, you guys are a beacon. Like, just step back and go, look at all, you know, of you guys. You're just super happy and healthy and vibrant, and, you know, the clarity that's in every one of your eyes and things it's worth stepping back and going, hey, maybe I can learn something here. So,
thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
In your reflection. No, it's, I think it's a beautiful thing to get together in tribe and share the challenges, share the wisdom, share any tips we have as families with these new babies in this new way where, we don't have a village to raise the child, the family, which we did not long ago, really. So it feels like we've kind of come through a period where, as men, you just kind of buck up and get on with it, where there's still residue of that, of course, in our culture. But it feels like watching you and watching Heath's family and these other families I'm witnessing around the community, seeing that there's this beautiful balance that can be cultivated in the family unit of working together, helping elevate each other. The family life can be absolutely joyful, which, of course, it's a given. But I think there's often a collective perception that you have to kind of give up so much joy and adventure in life. But for me, it's just amplified the joy and adventure. Really interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like the idea of having a family and being part of a community is still very much a dream to me. Like I love that, you're doing your thing here, and I'm excited to be able to share messages. And I love watching yourself. Heath is a great example over at the Raw Kitchen. He and him, again, they've got a lot of things sorted out. I guess the interesting thing for me, and I'll just touch on this, it was probably 6-7 years ago. I was just working 70 hours a week in a kitchen, and I wasn't a very healthy human being. And, as a result, I guess I did at that point suffer a bit of a burnout. I remember walking into a room and I had all this pressure on me. And instead of speeding up, which I was telling, everything on my body and brain to do, everything just slowed down and stopped. I was like, ooh, there might be 100 people walking in the door for a wedding in half an hour. However, right now, I don't have the capacity to do any more than I'm currently doing. So I was lucky in that situation to step back, take, 5 deep breaths, and then just for the rest of the evening, get things done. But to me, it was like hey, you're not taking care of the dotting the I's and crossing the T's. You're not even spelling your words correctly. So, let's get back to basics. Let's reduce alcohol consumption. For me personally, this is my journey. Let's make sure that you're getting a minimum of like 6 or 7 hours sleep, because for a long time, when more and more open, I was just operating on a 4 to 4.5 hour sleep bracket. And, I think the body's an amazing thing. You can do that. I think the reason now that I understand that you're hardwired that way is so that when a young baby comes along, you can go for it for that period. It's going to catch you up, like one of the things that happened very shortly after that was I didn't really get sick, but I just didn't want to do anything but stay in bed for a 2-week period. Now, I think I'm lucky. I have quite a strong constitution, and I have a strong base understanding of like what I want is steamed vegetables, and what I want is, good water, and what I want is to connect to the earth and walk in the sunshine and, get down the beach and just watch the sun setting on the horizon and just feel that, man, this is so worth being here. I think after mistreating myself for quite a long period of time, I was lucky that 2 weeks I could kind of get myself back to a place where I felt quite good. I think those basic tools of understanding that sunshine is nourishment, the wind on your face when you're down on the beach and you're enjoying the sounds and the connection to the earth, which we all came from and will go back to. Like there's this total disconnection from death in community right now. No one ever sees a dead body. Like, it's so weird, But, these things to me nourish you and nourish me and nourish every fly and every bean that grows on the planet. So if we can have that basic understanding, the closer we get to nature, the easier the time we're going to have. And I don't know. This is just through my experience. So I've never sat down and gone, look, if I say it like that, it makes sense. If I say it like this, and it all melds, and here's the perfect poem that makes this all meld. No, but I've lived it, and I have experienced it. So, I always appreciate an opportunity like this to share not just what's going right, but also what I've learnt from times which are going wrong. So, yeah. I appreciate what you're doing, man. This is awesome.
No, thank you for sharing so honestly. You're right. I mean, in our culture, we hide death and the whole dying process behind really clean, sterilized curtains. And there's a thick kind of cloak of denying that process. And I think that denial really gets us collectively complacent and in a heavy state of denying that loved one is even going to die. So in those cultures I've been in where death is in your face, there's also so much joy and wisdom and family connection, and it seems less complacency and less clinging. It's just right there in your face. So yeah, I mean, it seems like we're through conversations, through platforms actually. Like my main teacher, Ram Dass, had a center called the Dying Center, in which it's a platform for people to die consciously, which is quite still, I think, revolutionary. I think we've still got a ways to go in that being accepted into our culture. But it's happening. It seems to be happening. Birth, I mean, even just men being able to be a part of the birth process. And then, I mean, getting just so intimate with that process is huge. Yeah. I can't imagine bringing a baby into my life as a father and not witnessing the birth. Yeah. Like witnessing my wife going through the process of it, witnessing the blood and just all of it. And then holding the baby straight away. It was such a blessing and such an awakening experience. Yeah. Jo was with both of her parents when they passed, and she shares constantly an unpacking of how intense it was, but how beautiful it was as well to be right there as they're on their last breath, to connect to what's real. And she's creating a podcast just on unpacking the immensity and the profundity of birth and death. I mean, you can just keep going on how incredible that is. So, yeah, it seems like the platforms and the conversations and the support for people diving into an awakening of all the good stuff, but also the potential beauty in the crap of life, in the challenges of life. I mean,
I think if someone close to you, that's an amazing story, and I didn't even know that. That's kind of funny that it came out. Yeah. If someone close to you can die consciously, and you can be truly connected and grateful for what it is that they've brought to the world, because like I'm under no illusion that I build upon what my parents have instilled in me, and like we all do that, and there's this massive, let's just call it the weaving of a rope together when the past generations, are in a situation where you get an opportunity to actually feel what it was that they went through when they were younger. And, there's never a time where that's going to come more to the surface than when, it's their last breaths, if you like. I mean, that's a kind of morbid way to go about saying it.
I don't think it is, though. I think in our culture we've been conditioned to think it's morbid, and just all the negative aspects of life we kind of push it away under again those clean curtains. But I think those morbid aspects. There's
so much beauty in the frayed edges sometimes, and it's funny because. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but
I tend to do that.
I was driving down the freeway right here in Perth one day, and there was like someone had chosen to jump off one of the bridges onto the freeway, and I'm driving along, and I pulled alongside, like the side of the road. And this was the moment for me that I was realised there's just so much disconnection from death, because there's a person who's dead in the middle of the road, and I've pulled over my car and, conditioned. What was I conditioned to do? Dial 000. Now, it's on the freeway, so there's 15, 20, 30, 50 other people calling 000. No one's answering. I'm sitting there and I'm like 10 metres away from someone who's lying in the middle of the freeway. They're not with us anymore, I don't think. but I have no idea how to react. Now, after a minute, no one's answering, 000, I go to get out of the car, not knowing what I'm going to do. And a Kiwi guy had pulled up and he just chucked a blanket out of the back of his car over the body. And then he'd manoeuvred his car and put the hazard lights on so that no one could sort of run over the top of it. And, by this stage, there was probably another 30 other people parked in cars alongside the freeway. And, I guess I cannot explain it any other way, but a kind of embarrassment that, one, that our society has these issues. This was a young man, I would have loved to have, I don't know, in hindsight, come across him the day before and just said a couple of kind words. I'm not saying that it would have changed anything, but, there's a possibility that just hearing that, hey, man, you got a great pair of shoes on, and then leading into a situation where you can actually compliment, like, I like the way you hold yourself. Yeah. I can see that, you've got a great capacity in whatever pursuit you might take on. Now, I love to deliver that stuff. A lot of people aren't open to it. A lot of people are. And
they're open to accepting the praise. You mean?
Yeah, exactly. Just noticing something which, hey, you're already building on that. You've got a foundation, man. And everybody does. I often wake up some mornings and just little man smiling. He's such a morning baby. He just wakes up and he's just giggling and having a great time. He's only 3 months. It's quite nice. But yeah, I realize, oh man, I've got so much and I feel so lucky, and then some days I go out into the world and I just meet people who have 10 million times more than me. And then other days I go out into the world and I meet people who have so much less than me and don't necessarily have the education to change their situation. So like the yogis always say, be grateful for where you are, and there's a good chance you'll be in a situation to be offered more. I kind of feel like there's I'm going to let you drive for a little while.
No, that was good. Thank you. I'm speechless, quite speechless at that. So I don't know where to take it, but a little bit choked up with that, to be honest. But yeah, paying those compliments. I mean, you know what? I think there's a common situation people get in where they don't actually feel comfortable in giving praise. This whole kind of, Alan Watts called it the game of one-upmanship. Like in our culture, there's this rat race kind of collective where we're so preoccupied, generally speaking, to one-up that person that we're not willing to praise them. So it's really beautiful that you're willing to give that praise, because it's so common for one to get caught up in the head of our own inadequacies, trying to one-up that next person that we can't be bothered giving praise. So it's such a beautiful practice of mindfulness, just to reach out. Maybe not even, yes, to someone that you can intuit is struggling and having a down day. What a beautiful thing, just to... Yeah.
Often, there was a situation yesterday, there was a lady in the cafe, and to me, I could tell that she wasn't enjoying life for whatever reason. Often it is as simple as a big smile and a hello, how are you? Really what you're saying is, I see you. And, you're looking for that connection. The same connection you're giving me now. You're looking for that to go, oh, wow, this is, and I think this is the world. There's other people in it, and I see you as part of that. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes, like this particular situation, I know that she heard me. I know that she felt what I was putting out. Where she was at, she totally chose to ignore me and not even respond. But you know what? When I walked away, I actually felt better about it, because I'm like, that's cool, man. That's exactly where you are, and that's okay. I reckon if I do that to you, every time I see you in here for the next couple of weeks, you and I will be friends.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's probably, never really thought about it like this. I just had a little epiphany while I was talking then. That's why I love being in business, because I get to change lives. I get to change lives for the better. And honestly, like, it can be a hello and a smile at someone who just looks like they're having a really bad day. Don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here.
No, for sure. I'll put the explicit thing there.
But yeah, like, sometimes we all have a bad day. And if someone who's in quite a good place comes along and just goes, hey, like, there's this really positive vibration coming at you, like, you can't help but deny it. Yeah. So I mean, it's
I think you really consistently embody that. I mean, we're friends pretty much, really, from us just going to your fine establishment for more and more. And you've got a great vibe, and it's inviting, and people want to be in that. So, right on, conscious business, constant bringing in of mindfulness, of love. What a beautiful way to run a business, where that's kind of the foundation, to make people feel good, to uplift people's day.
Well, it's not necessarily been a conscious thing. I think I realise that as I'm talking, and I kind of go, oh, yeah, that happened yesterday, and why was that so significant to me? Because at the time it was just a smile and a hello.
Yeah.
But, looking back, it's kind of like, I realised that person wasn't in a contactable space, but that touched, like, there was eye contact. Yeah. She understood that I was just going, I see you, and it's really nice out here, like, it's all good. And that's, it might have made very little difference to her day, but to me, to break through the rain clouds in someone's day and just kind of go, here's a little beam of sunlight.
Yeah.
Made me feel good. So,
No, I hear you. I love to do that. I love to do that in all kinds of transactions, like with the checkout person, like kind of tuning in, like, even if it's just a card, not even cash, but tuning in, like, this isn't just an exchange of money, but like exchanging good vibes and spreading that good vibes to not only that checkout person, but if it is cash, may that next person picking up the cash feel the vibration of goodness. I often play with that, and it could just be, making me feel good. But often there is a transaction where you feel that person, it brings them into presence. It brings in some joy. Maybe not all the time, but often it does, and bringing in some connection, some joy into those often moments that are so mechanical and rushed. That's where I feel the mindfulness, the beauty, the love connection really is we're yearning for it in those types of moments, Yeah, and I think probably better than anyone I can think of, you embody that, Stuart. It's beautiful, man. It's really, really beautiful, and I look forward to, as we were discussing before we went on air, the possibility of having yourself in the space more and more, and doing some more of those things, and bringing some yoga / meditation, that sort of stuff, which is we'll check that out.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, back to the farm and table. Incredible thing. We went to one, it was some time ago, probably over a year ago now, but it was really a profound experience for me and Joe. We were both very...
this is one of the events at the cafe.
Cool. The farm-to-table event at the cafe at More and More. At the time, we had been very strict vegetarian for a long time, and there was being meat served, but it was an incredibly transformative moment for us to hear the farmers speak. That particular night, the farmers were speaking. We could feel the connection that those farmers had to the animals, and you and the chefs and the farmers were talking about the animals and the farms, and we were in tears. And we ate the meat, not even with any resistance. That was a real breakthrough for us in looking at the bigger picture, not just shouldn't eat meat, should eat meat, just looking at the bigger picture of like the consciousness of who's doing the farming, the consciousness of how the plants and the animals are being treated. It's such a big picture that it seems the next movement of, veganism, vegetarian, meatanism, or whatever you want to call it, it feels like the next intelligence of conversation is bubbling forth, in which it's not so black and white. It seems like, a radical shift is needed in terms of how we have collectively treated animals, and that does need to shift. But just the strict, like, shouldn't eat meat, should eat meat, like, it's created these mini subculture wars in the scene, which I really love your participation in helping evolve that platform of how we approach.
Well, right now, veganism is a buzzword, and you know, I think 15 years ago, vegetarianism was a buzzword, and those sorts of things are fine. Like, I did veganism for a good 6-month period. I did vegetarianism for a good probably year period, and now, like you alluded to, the conscious consumption of foods is really key. Now, I'll backtrack a little bit to more and more in our philosophy in general. Well, not in general, but where I put my focus. So our olive oil comes straight from a olive oil farmer who I was talking to yesterday when he dropped off another 80 litres of olive oil. It's all organically grown, but he's not chasing the certification, because between ourselves and 2 other restaurants, we take everything that he grows. So there's no point in, we're happy. I've been to the farm. I've seen his beautiful practice of, letting the weeds all go to seed around the trees and then mowing them down so that they mulch down and feed the soil for the following year. And, there's this beautiful way of doing things. But the dense calories is where we focus, because I don't want people to walk in and go, it's a $32 breakfast, but everything's organic, because that's not really viable for everyone. When it comes to your chickens, people don't often think about this. You can eat a bowl of cereal, but if you eat an egg, that chicken has eaten 10 bowls of cereal to make your egg.
Right.
So it's a very concentrated version of whatever you're choosing to feed that thing. So we had organic eggs there for quite a while, and I'd love to bring them back if people were interested enough and let me know. Right now we've got pasture raised, so they're out there, they're eating grass, they're eating greens, they're eating grubs. So they're not vegetarian, sorry. That's the chicken. But, and they're raised in that really, really nice way, but they are pretty much eating a laying mix. So it might not contain, as far as I'm aware, any GMOs, because I do avoid that as much as possible. And when I say as much as possible, I can tell you that when I email the people that I can get the rice bran oil from, or something which has a neutral flavour so we can make an aioli, they will say, as far as I can follow, may contain traces of GMO product. So it doesn't have GMO product. And that's a big difference, because a lot of them are a genetically modified product. Now, I'm not a fan of that. I just don't think there's enough research to put that in the human diet. I really don't, especially when, people are having more trouble conceiving and things like this all the time. If you're going to put a termination gene into a seed and feed it to people, I don't know, I find it hard, and, there's big budgets to convince people of otherwise. There's you and me, 2 conscious people sitting in a room suggesting that, hey, do a little bit more research, guys. So, it's a big kettle of fish. But, I'm in a lucky position to be able to provide food to people, and I'm going to do that to the best of my ability. So that's just me, I'm not looking to start a revolution, because, if people want to start a revolution, they can, but this is not going to come from me. I'm just going to be quietly doing my thing to my capacity. And, I sleep well at night with that, so I'm okay. I'd love to do more. At the same time,
you're doing a lot.
I'm pretty happy, and I think being humble is one of the absolute necessities to being happy. So, we might do a little bit. We could do more. Yeah, absolutely. Do I work too many hours? Yes.
How many hours are you working right now?
I don't keep track.
Yeah.
I struggle to take a day off a week. Yeah.
Okay.
But that totally fluctuates as well, When all the crew that are going into work are loving it, I can take the foot off the accelerator. When there's a few people in there causing a little bit of drama, then I'm working real hard. So whatever. It's just ebb and flow. That's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Way off topic, but I notice you're always in your Vibram 5 fingers, which I dig. I'm always in mine as well. If I'm not barefoot, I'm in my Vibram 5 fingers. And how long have you been wearing them for? A little while?
It's funny. And I say it's funny because people just freak out.
Yeah, they do still. Huh?
Yeah. Especially when I'm, I'll work the floor because I like to get at least 10 direct feedbacks from people every day because I'm not going to, eat 3 meals in the cafe every day, but I'll get, and if there's any tinge of resistance to kind of going, oh, everything was great, I'll go, what could we have done better? And I often find out really useful things. Okay. But people will look down at my shoes at this time and they'll be like, what do you have on your feet? I just got to admit it, like the extra sensory perception that comes back through your feet is like, I don't know, like it's something new, like I was a shoe wearer and I've got deformed toes because I was a shoe wearer for, a good 30 years. They're getting better actually, just feeling it now. But, the extra sensory perception of, oh, I'm going onto grass. Oh, I'm going onto hard. I'm going onto soft. I'm going onto something that makes noise, something that doesn't. Everything like that just coming straight up through the soles of your feet. I just found my daily level of happiness lifting. And I'm like, if I could do that so easily, this is on. Yeah. It's done. Yeah. Vibrams for me,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I had flat feet my whole life. I was prescribed the most supportive shoes possible, the most high-arched orthotics possible. And I got to the point in my late teens where I couldn't function in terms of like standing and walking unless I had those supportive shoes and orthotics on. Like it got to the point where if I went for a walk barefoot, I'd get instant shin splints, instant knee problems. So I intuitively just started wearing Vibrams when they first came out years ago. Whilst getting into my yoga practice, and that combination of working the foot, like you just said, that tactile feeling of all the different surfaces is activating all these muscles that don't get worked if you're in those really supportive shoes. Super quickly, shin splints went, knee problems went. Wow. Even though I've still got ridiculously flat feet, they function really well. Like I can now go for huge jogs, not even with the Vibram 5 fingers, like fully barefoot, and they've become really resilient. They don't look it; they still look like just flat, floppy feet, but they've become really strong. So it's quite incredible. Even just that of getting barefoot. The next step, if we can't quite get barefoot, the Vibram 5 fingers there. I'm all about them. They're great.
I love going for a run in them because, I think, all of a sudden a run becomes super fun because I've got these sticky little shoes on, and when I'm running down the footpath and there's those little bars at the end of the footpath, I'll jump up on the bar because I'm like, I can balance on that. We'll walk along and jump across to the next one, and I'm just like, a run becomes so much more fun, and like you're picking your surfaces really carefully. I'm going to go there because that park's really soft, and it's just fun to run across there. It is fun. And then you start playing with like running with the toes and then rolling the feet, which you do in a pair of like, these very squishy sort of shoes. And you quickly, to me, quickly, it's been probably 4 years since I've been wearing them. But for me, I quickly realized that putting the heel down first and then rolling off onto the toe, the foot's not designed really to do that. And you can feel it when you're not really wearing anything except for a skinny piece of rubber that fits to your foot. And I love looking back over the tracks, like even when you're in a petrol station and it looks like someone with bare feet's walking where you've been walking, you know what I mean? I like that, it's just kind of like, human foot. Like, there's the track. I don't know.
No, I get excited about that as well. Like, just that heel to toe movement. Most people think that is the way, but it's so not. Like it jars the knees, it jars the lower back, but it feels normal. It feels the healthy thing to do when you're in shoes, which it's completely different, which is quite interesting. You move completely different when you're in all that support, and it's so healthy for people.
Yeah, it's kind of like putting on an addition to your body and suggesting that, oh, yeah, nature didn't get it right. So we'll just add this so that we can get it right. It's kind of like, hang on a second. Like, this idea has been around, 50 years? We've been around like 2 million.
Yeah.
I think we had it right. Like, the closer you get to nature, the less sort of kickbacks you're going to get, because the body's not designed to walk around with a high heel on of any description, whether it's 3 inches or half an inch or, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but, I have my own viewpoints on that, and I love getting into nature. I love all of those things, and I'm really grateful for wherever that came from.
Where are you at with the sunglasses and sunscreen thing? I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
It's a really good one. Well, I've just had a pterygium removed from my right eye. And I actually think, I don't have any scientific basis. This is just my personal, I'm not a doctor. My personal feeling is that for years and years I was on a cruise boat and I was looking out over the beautiful sunny day, and, it was a nice spot because there's 3 huge windows, so I can always see what's going on. And my eyes were fine until I would walk outside into the full sun. Then my eyes would hurt, so all the sensory perception that the body's getting is exactly the same, but all of a sudden there's this UV that was getting filtered by the window 2 seconds ago. And to me, the problem comes when you confuse the body. So like if you've got big sunglasses on and then all of a sudden you stop wearing them and the body's filtering UV itself, whereas it wasn't before, it's a very smart machine. But if you keep tricking it and going, I'm going to put sunnies on today but not tomorrow, and then on the day after and not the day after, it's going to develop its own way of defending itself, which is exactly why. So pterygium is a small growth in the eye sort of thing, which is there really to protect it. They call it surfer's eye because...
Yeah, I've got a little bit of that going on as well.
Yeah, so if you're out in the surf a lot and you're getting UV off the water plus the UV from the sky... you can get these sorts of things. So I had that removed. It was very painless, a little bit itchy afterwards, but to be honest, every summer it was getting like that anyway. So, and Lion's Eye Institute does that, which is amazing. I was blown away how good the service is. So yeah, that's all looking good. It was only, say, 3 weeks ago, and to me, the eye's back. It's still a little bit bloodshot.
So do you wear sunglasses now, or are you feeling...
I'm more worried about blue light at night.
Yes.
I love UV.
Yeah.
And I actually love to sun gaze. If I'm up at sunrise and I've got a clear view of the sun, I'm watching that.
Yeah.
I'm watching it come over the horizon. And if I'm, in a position where I can watch the sunset and actually disappear, that last inch on the horizon, man, there's not much I prefer to do. It's really nice. I'll just stare straight at the sun there where it's nice and filtered by the length of the horizon. Happy.
Yes.
But yeah, do I wear sunglasses? I think unless it was going to be a full 100% commitment to wearing sunglasses, and which is not going to be, I'm just going to leave them alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
cool. And the blue light, do you wear the blue light blockers?
I do sometimes.
Yeah, so do I. I get given so much shit off them.
Yeah.
I had the orange ones, then I got given some of the clear ones as well, but I think the orange ones blocks out more. It definitely feels like that. Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah. I got really into that probably about 6 months ago. But to be honest, I haven't done a lot of stuff. What I did do is at home, all my globes are incandescent. So they're a full spectrum. You know what I mean? So I'm quite happy, and I make sure that my computer has a blue light filter on it.
Nighttime mode and all that. Yeah.
And look, that didn't happen overnight. It took about 2 years to transition all that. But I kind of feel like it's a closer to natural, For me, that's the direction we're moving closer to nature for me to have longevity and, to feel good. So.
Yeah. For listeners that aren't aware of that whole conversation of blue light and whatnot. So most of the white lights we have in our like workplaces and shops and whatnot, the bright kind of fluoro lights, the bright white lights emit blue light spectrum, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
it throws off our circuitry, our melatonin, our GABA, and all that.
Yeah, you're across this more than
Yeah. So
it's also a very flickery light.
Right.
Like if you're under an LED light and it's solely LED, especially if they're kind of like cheaper ones or something, and you move your arm, it looks like it's moving in blocks.
Oh, okay.
And that's because one of the reasons, or one of the ways that they save so much light is that they're kind of on, off, on, off, on, off, you know. So it's kind of this, and it does things to the brain.
Weirdly stimulating. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of sitting by a campfire.
Yeah. Well, that I mean, up until what?
100 years?
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah. Probably 67, 70 years ago. I mean, even when they first brought out lights, it probably wouldn't have been powerful white light. I don't know. I wasn't around. But,
some sort of full spectrum light would
yeah.
have been Mr. Edison's plan, I'm sure, you know.
So, yeah, coming back to those natural lights, the amber lights, candle lights.
Especially beeswax.
Talk about romantic. Get romantic.
Yeah. But, I get funny about burning soy wax and things because, you know, again, it's kind of coming from that place of it quickly gets into your air, which is what you're breathing.
What do you think is best with candles?
It's just straight up beeswax.
Yeah,
natural beeswax. Yeah, and the actual tone of the light that's coming off that for me, it's amazing. And the smell you get is actually really, really beautiful.
Yeah,
and it's a natural beauty. I think one of the curses of working as a chef now for 25 years-ish, because I started when I was about 12 in a commercial kitchen, running up and down and washing dishes and stuff like that, is every day your main tool is your palate. So you're tasting, you're digging in there, like, you know, is there too much carrot, onion, or, you know, whatever it is. Like, and then it's the balance between, you know, like the whole sauce industry is the balance between some sort of a background flavour, but it's mainly sugar and vinegar. And, you know, some sort of inverted sugar and a sugar to reach a bliss point, which just totally encapsulates your palate. So, you know, every time you make something in the kitchen, you're looking for that. Oh, what am I using? Lemon juice. No, what am I using? Apple cider vinegar. And then what sort of sweetness do I want? Do I want a complex sweetness from something like maple syrup, or do I want, you know, a more caramelly sugar from something like coconut sugar? The only place we use refined sugars at all in the cafe is where people add it themselves, and that's the raw sugar that sits on the table. Everything else is coconut sugar. Everything else is not a refined sugar. Well, we buy some cakes in which have refined sugar in, but if we make it, anyway, brain fart.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always forget to sort of, and I, to be honest, I've never put everything that the cafe does into a single sentence. We've just changed the menu now, which has a bit of philosophy on the first page, which is annoying for some people because they don't just get this out of the way so I can read the menu. But for a lot of people, you know, who are interested in what our point of difference is, no, it's now on the menu, which that makes me happy. I like that. And, you know, the more support, I guess, we get from the community around that, the easier it is to do.
Yeah.
I know, Kenny up at Manuka Woodfire, he uses a lot of farm to table, and he's quite good on, you know, bringing those things straight in off the land. I love that. You know, what they're doing up at the Rock Kitchen and those sorts of places, it is eating with consciousness. And you can go in there and you can have a meal without even asking any questions or without reading the extras on the menu. But to me, that's the point of difference. That's the thing which, you know, like, I don't know. It's the little things that are, you know, it's everything, really. Yeah. So, yeah, sorry.
I deeply, deeply appreciate it. So thank you so much, Simon. Is there any upcoming events or projects or anything like that you want to share with the listeners?
I'm really glad you asked. So every year we do a series of Vital Table Talks. So coming up this year, we've got a beautiful lady who's talking about homeopathics, and basically her angle is just, you know, before you reach for the Panadol, which has other effects besides the one that you want, try out a homeopathic. And it's just, you know, sugar tablets, and they're given a vibration, you know. We've been using them at home now for 8 months, And Ali did use those during labour and everything. So I think they were very helpful. So we're bringing her in. We've got the Paleo Nutter, who really talk about, ways to get off the standard diet, which is, often leading to, health problems, concerns. They're fantastic. They're getting their own little range, I think, of completely paleo pizza bases and things. So making it easy and available for people. And they're local, they're based just down the street. So these guys are they're fantastic. Simon Cairns, who, is a real guru on gut health. He's talking about different things. And they're something that we do just because, and we've done now for a few years, if you're in the neighbourhood, come along to one. You get a full dinner and everything, and it's like, I think the tickets are $47. And we organise everything. You guys just take a seat, absorb what you like, ask questions of the guys. That's the big difference of coming along to a live talk. Like, fire back. Oh, that doesn't really make sense to me. Can I get a bit of clarity? Mm-hmm. These guys have been dealing with this stuff for a long time. And, what comes with the questions, that's always my favourite part. So, if you are coming along, please ask questions. Then we've got the long table dinner. So up on the high street, there's 1,500 tickets sold out, which is amazing. The National Hotel organises that, and all the proceeds go to St. Pat's. So, the little place that feeds the homeless and a little bit... I don't know what the correct PC term is, but, they're supplying meals for those underprivileged people. We're jumping on board with that this year. So we're going to have a bazaar market all the way up Henry Street. That's going to
beautiful.
Be closed.
When is that?
That is the 29th of November. Those tickets will be on sale in the next couple of days. So we're going to have our own little section right at the front there. We will be doing a wild, local and organic dinner, and that comes with a couple of drinks. And I think, without going too much further, those two things are already locked in.
Cool.
And they're not things that we do for any sort of financial gain. That we do them because we love bringing the community together. We love, just seeing that people are engaged and sort of, taking on board and hopefully taking in a little bit of what we are doing. So.
Awesome. And what's the website people can check that out?
Ooh.
More and More Cafe or More and More Event?
Moreandmorecafe.com and moreandmorecafe.com.au. Both of them, I think, will lead you straight there. Yeah. We've just redone that, so hopefully it's looking fairly decent.
And you guys have a supplement distribution website as well, don't you? Do you want to share that?
To us, yeah. So we have the besthealthproject.com. So
lots of good stuff on there.
Yeah. Well, Ali, of course, is a health coach. So she's come across a couple of things that have made massive differences in her life. She had a lot of eating sensitivities, and basically after eating every meal would get bloated and things like this. So a lot of the things which really helped her on her way and been developed with her input as well, like the Bowel Restore product and the one that she's been taking while breastfeeding, which is Vital Fibre.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep everything on the inside running really, really well after, in her case, 30 years of conditioning on a less than perfect diet. So that's the main reason why that was set up. We also love a lot of the living libations, bits and pieces that we do, which have no fillers. They are just the beautiful essential oils. So that's the deodorant that I wear. If I overpower anyone, that's what's going on there. Sorry. I just find that they're fantastic, and there's no fillers. So it's just really good. Good stuff. We met Nadine Artemis a couple of years ago. And we're really impressed with what she did, and also the philosophy in which she operates her business. So they're on there as well.
Awesome. It's been great to hang out with you, Simon. Really good to chat.
You too, Stu.
We'll leave it there.
So beautiful.
Until next time. Much love.
Yeah, much love. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, everyone.